So we've got 13 people joined.
And we're recording as well, aren't we, already, Sarah? So
yes, we're already recording.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think over to you, Mirella, whenever you're ready.
Good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear participant of the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, the 64th session, dear NGO participants. In normal time, we would be sitting in a room in the Vienna International Center, the room MOE 27, if I don't forget. Jamie is, as you see us here, I suppose in the screen, close by. We are co-sharing what we call the briefing session for NGOs. This year is a very special year. Again, we are the CND that will start from next week, and will go on the whole week, is taking place in a hybrid format. We will go more details about what does it mean during the session, showing the slides. Yes, the thing is that in Vienna we have quite a strict lockdown at the moment, but still the VIC is functional, and there is a limited possibility for NGOs to participate. So it is really a pity not to be able to see you, and even not to be able to know exactly who is on the other side and listening, but it is a real pleasure to be with you today. Jamie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mirella. Yeah, and thanks for your welcome. So yeah, as Mirella said, this is the briefing we would normally have nice and early on a Monday morning, but as we are all engaging virtually this year, and as the actual CND itself is starting at 9 AM Vienna time on Monday, we thought it was best to have this briefing today instead, just a few days in advance. So thanks everyone for joining. Let me just very quickly share my screen so you can see, hopefully, can everyone see the slides? Yeah, okay, perfect. So yeah, as Mirella says, welcome to the briefing today, which we're very happy to co-host as the Vienna NGO Committee on Drugs alongside UNODC. My name's Jamie Bridge. I'm the chair of the Vienna NGO Committee on Drugs. And yeah, just before we begin, just to let everybody know that the meeting is being recorded, and it will be uploaded to the VNGOC website. Mainly because there's obviously a lot of our members, we have members all around the world, so some people won't be able to join us live today because of time zones. So we're recording it so that the information is available for people, at any time when they want to watch it. It's an informal discussion today. Really, our aim is to just let you know as much as we can about what's going to happen next week at the online CND. Or the hybrid CND, as Mirella said. And so at any point, please do raise questions. We'll have a lot of time at the end for questions as well, but we might be able to take some as we go. So you can put those questions in the chat or in the Q&A box that you see, and we'll do everything we can to answer them. If there's anything that we can't answer, all I can promise you is that we'll try and get the answer. And we can obviously pass questions on to the CND Secretariat if needs be as well. So please do ask questions if you have any. And then, yeah, just to say, we're very lucky to have Paulina providing Spanish translation for us today. So thank you. If you do want the translation, please choose your language from the interpretation icon, which you should see at the bottom of the screen. And then you may need to also select the option to mute the original audio. And that will allow you to hear Paulina's translation nice and clearly. And I would suggest that even if you're listening to this and following it in English, I would suggest that you still choose English as your channel in using that interpretation button, just in case there is a question that comes in Spanish as we progress. So yeah, just to say again, if you have any questions, if anything's not working or anything's not clear, please let us know in the chat. So our main aim today is to talk about the CND, unsurprisingly, and just to let you know about what's going on during the week, and that will cover the plenary agenda, the side events, and also the informal dialogues that we have organised. And as we've said, this year exceptionally, all of these things, for the vast majority of us, all of these things are going to be online engagements. So what Sarah's produced for us here is a brief overview of what's happening in the plenary during the week. And you can also see the links there. I think, Sarah, if you can also copy those links into the chat, that would be really, really helpful. So you can find this agenda online at the CND website, and you can also keep up to date with things using that bottom link, which takes you to the actual conferences platform that they use for these meetings in Vienna. So, I mean, I won't go through this in great detail, but just to say that on Monday, the opening session will begin at 9 AM. All of these times and all of the times you hear in this meeting today will all be Vienna times. So 9 AM Vienna time will be the opening, and then there will also be a kind of ceremonial segment, because this year marks the anniversary of the 1961 and the 1971 conventions. So there's going to be a kind of commemorative section to acknowledge that. And then the agenda then proceeds as normal. On most days, well, on all the other days, there is two-hour plenary slots in the agenda. So there's shorter slots than normal because it's all online. So you have from 12 till 2 and then from 3 till 5. And we are aware that this new timing that they've proposed, it does unfortunately overlap with some of the side events, which is which is very unfortunate, but hopefully will not distract from the value of those side events, and I'll come on to those later. So Mirella, I don't know if you wanted to add anything on the plenary agenda, or if there was any, of course, obviously, if there's any questions from anyone, please let us know as well.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. I just also remember that I did not introduce myself in case, of course, not everybody is supposed to know me. I'm Mirella Domafrai, heading the civil society unit in UNODC. We are the interface to civil society, and here in the room, there's also Sarah with me. We are lucky that we can even have a hybrid version for the briefing of the NGOs. I want to maybe just add one thing, because as you know, most of you have registered online only, but there are 6 NGOs that at least registered in person. So for those who are planning to come to the VIC, please note that not all the sessions are, you cannot attend all of the session. It is essentially for the opening session, so the 2 hours, which are the ceremonial meeting where Jamie will be also speaking, representing basically the NGOs. There is another session which I mean, so the opening, the closing is also open for NGOs, but not for NGOs, for people in person, let's put it this way. So those NGOs who are registered in person can also come to the closing session. And there is the session on the classification, the voting, which I think it's on the Wednesday, implementation of the International Drug Control Treaty. So these are the real in-person session to which the NGOs who have registered in person and are wishing to come can come. There is one important thing that the chair has requested, and it was basically agreed in through this silent procedure, that whoever is coming to the VIC should do a test. There is in Vienna, there is availability full of free testing, whether even at the Austria Center, just close to the VIC, or just you get from either a pharmacy or BIPA, these kind of tests that you can do yourself. I don't think the security will check on this, nor where you enter in the room, but it has been asked and has become like encouraged also for us as staff. When we come to the VIC, we have to have been tested at least once a week. And for people coming from outside, it's 72 hours that are internationally more or less accepted. So yeah, I think it's important to underline this, because with all the rules that can become on writing, maybe one don't think about this. Yeah, otherwise I have nothing special to add on this slide, Jamie, for you.
Thanks, Mirella. So yeah, I mean, as Mirella says, it's a very, very small number. I think it is 6 people who have applied for a pass to be there in person. And it's very small because essentially travel in and out of Austria for this meeting is almost going to be impossible. So, really, in practical terms, we're talking about NGO colleagues who are already in Vienna. So we will, we can follow up kind of individually with those 6 with the finer details, because the challenge has been that I believe, Mirella, that the COVID situation in Austria is actually worsening, unfortunately, at the moment, and entering what's being regarded as a 3rd wave, or having entered already a 3rd wave. So the restrictions have actually changed in recent weeks as well, in terms of how many people you can have in a building and those kind of things. So yeah, very difficult, big challenge, obviously, for the CND Secretariat to try and manage. But the key thing to emphasize for the vast majority of us is that all of these plenary sessions, every session that you see in front of you now on this slide, they are all going to be webcast. So all of these sessions are accessible, open access, via the link that will be on the CND website, available to watch via webcast. So, that's very welcome. Normally, only the opening session is webcast. So, this year, every session will be webcast. And for those of you who have been successful in obtaining ECOSOC passes to have what we're calling on-platform participation, that means you don't only get to watch the webcast, you actually get to be inside the platform where the meeting is happening. So this year they're using a platform called Interprify, which isn't one I've ever used before. So unfortunately, I can't give you a great amount of advice about the platform itself. But yeah, so there's around 150 people who will be able to engage in the meetings on the platform. And for everyone else, they'll be able to follow all of these meetings on the webcast. Happy, again, obviously, to answer any questions you may have, but generally speaking, I think the agenda follows the normal procedure. Just to say, the general debate, which will take up most of Monday, that's where you tend to see most governments making their statements. And this year, the theme, quite understandably, is around the COVID response. So there'll be a lot of discussions there about, measures that governments have taken in the past 12 months. And then, yeah, as Mirella says, the other key highlights are the agenda items on implementation of the treaties, because that is where they will be discussing and voting on new substances. I believe there's somewhere around 10 or 11 substances this year that are being proposed to be added to the schedules. And again, you can find all that information, including background documents, on the CND website. Okay, so if I move on, because I can't see any questions, but Sarah, do jump in if I'm missing any. So in parallel to what is going on in the plenary, there will also be the committee of the whole, which is normally that happens in a separate room, and that is where the member states will negotiate the resolutions in detail. They'll go through each resolution paragraph by paragraph and negotiate it and come to a consensus by the last day. Actually, I shouldn't have said in parallel, because this year, because of COVID, this is actually taking place in the same room as the plenary. So these committee of the whole sessions will be taking place before and after the plenary sessions. So on Monday, that means that there'll be a session from 6 till 8 in the evening. And then on Tuesday, there'll be a session from 9 till 11 in the morning, and then another session from 6 till 8 in the evening, and then so on and so forth up until Friday. There are only 4 resolutions that have been submitted, and you can see them listed in front of you here. The drafts of these resolutions are now available on the CND website. So, please do go and have a look at those. And those drafts are being negotiated as we speak. I think even today, there are some meetings taking place on some of these resolutions. And they will be negotiated throughout the week before hopefully being adopted on the Friday by consensus. In addition to the 4 that you can see in front of you, there is also what is called L2, which is actually a statement. It's a statement by the Commission on Narcotic Drugs on the COVID response and how COVID has impacted the drug situation. And that has been submitted by the CND chair, which is the ambassador from Poland. And that has already been agreed in negotiations in what they call informal. So it's not 100% clear what is going to happen next week, but I think that one is going to be adopted without further discussion, because I believe that the member states have already spent a couple of weeks negotiating that one in detail. The last time I checked, the draft of that document was not available online. That may have changed this morning. I apologize if it has, but it will be available soon. And for those who are asking, why does it then start at L2? L1 is the CND report, which will also be produced and adopted in the final session on Friday. So again, please, happy to answer any questions. The committee of the whole will not be webcast because it is, because it's a negotiated, it's a series of negotiations rather than statements. So it will not be webcast. Those of you who have a CND pass into the platform will be able to observe the committee of the whole, just like we can when we're in Vienna. But just like when we're in Vienna, civil society cannot intervene at this meeting. We are there purely as observers. So I would just, just wanted to make that clear. And again, happy to answer any questions that people may have. So another huge part of the agenda every year is the side events program. And this year, it again is going to look different because it's online. And there are more than 100 side events that have been submitted and are being organized during the week, which is fantastic. The vast majority of them involve civil society, either as co-hosts or hosts or speakers. This is a really important way for civil society to engage at the Commission on Narcotic Drugs. There is a link there, which Sarah, if you could copy and paste that into the chat as well, I think that would be fantastic. But they've done a really nice job on the CND website of presenting all of these side events. So you can see the program, you can look at it day by day, and then for each side event, you'll see links to look at the flyer if one has been submitted. And you'll also see the link that you need to join the side event or to register. Some of them require you to register in advance. So I would encourage you to look at that link today. And if there's any events that you're particularly interested in, please do register in advance if you can. Now, it's been left entirely up to each side event organizer to decide what platform they're going to use and how they're going to set it up. So some will be recorded, some won't. Some may be translated, some won't. And it might be on Zoom, it might be on Teams, it might be on some other platform. It really does depend on who is hosting the event. But hopefully that won't be too much of a barrier. And I think most of them will be recorded, or at least a decent number of them will be recorded. I know the Vienna committee are planning to record all of ours. And we understand that those recordings will also be shared on that side event website. So if you are organizing a side event, I would encourage you to record it so that people can also watch it at a later time. And then if you do record it, please share that link with the CND Secretariat so that they can upload it to the page, and then it creates like a legacy so that people can come and look at that side event in the future and listen to the discussions that you had. I'll come on to more side events a bit later, particularly the ones that we are working on as the Vienna committee. But just quickly to say that there will also be, we've created like an open, are we using Zoom or Teams, Sarah? Can you remind me?
Teams.
Teams. So we've created basically an open access Teams room, let's say, and we're calling it a virtual NGO lounge. So normally in Vienna, we have one of the rooms downstairs, which is reserved for civil society all through the week, so that it's a space where people can go, see familiar faces, connect with one another. The one thing we can't do for you on Teams is allow you to print. Normally we have a printer in that room. Obviously we can't do that remotely this year. Yeah, we just wanted to create an open space. So please do take a note of the link that's down here. And again, Sarah, if you can put that in the chat, we'd really appreciate that. And yeah, feel free to drop in and, or arrange to meet people in that room at any point in time. It's just another example of how we're trying to mirror as best as possible, trying to mirror a normal CND this year. And then, yeah, just to highlight the marketplace, it's such a kind of important tool and we're really pleased at how we've been able to enhance and improve this tool over the years to the point where it is now. And this has been a joint initiative with the UNODC Civil Society Unit as well. And yeah, so I would encourage you to use the marketplace throughout the week next week to use it to promote your side events, use it to promote your statements or your interventions or any other work that you're doing. If you're releasing any reports, if you're if you're publishing any briefings or anything like that, the marketplace is a fantastic platform to share what you're doing with hundreds of NGO colleagues around the world. So we really hope that people will mobilize on the marketplace next week and use it as well. If you're not already registered, it literally takes a few minutes to do. It's a very simple process. As with everything, if you have any issues, please let us know and we'll try and fix them as soon as we can. I don't know, Mirella, is there anything else you wanted to say about the marketplace? Because I know that was, that's something we've been working together on.
Yeah, no, again, what you just said, if you have not joined it, please do join it. This is an opportunity. We will refer to it also during some of the sites event, because it's important for NGO to interact and to exchange their expertise, but it's also important for member states to know who you are. So it gives you visibility as an NGO working on drugs issues if you are on the NGO marketplace. So yes, an important tool. Anyhow, during this time we can be only online and on the screen, and the marketplace was thought even well before COVID. It's always, I find it funny when I read MP, it used to be one of the chair of the VNGOC at that time, Michel Perron, who had put a lot of energy in making these things happen, and now by coincidence it looks like a logo with his initials. But yes, it is an important tool that has improved a lot over the year. The recent update was made early this year, so feel free to use it as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mirella. Yeah, that's great. So again, any questions, please let us know. I can't actually see the chat because I'm sharing my screen. So Sarah, do let me know if there's anything that comes up, you know, but we can address as we go. But unless I hear otherwise, I'll carry on. So the other key element of what the Vienna NGO Committee can offer you during the CND week is we organize what we call informal dialogues, but these are basically question and answer sessions with some of the really, you know, the kind of prominent individuals who are there, and, you know, some of the key senior officials at the meeting. So every year we organize dialogues with the executive director of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. And actually, the meeting this year will be the first time we've actually had this opportunity with Ms. Gardawali, because she was unable to join us last year. But also we meet with the INCB president. We meet with the CND chair, as I mentioned, that's the ambassador from Poland. And we meet with the senior colleagues from the World Health Organization. And that one's actually relatively new. This will only be the second year, I think, that we've done this. So you can see on the slide the dates for these meetings and the times for these meetings. Again, every time that you see is a Vienna time. And we'll be using Microsoft Teams for these meetings because that's the preferred platform for UNODC. The deadline to submit questions has already passed. And we'll be notifying people very soon, if we haven't already, about where their question is in terms of, because we've tried to order things in a way that allows, you know, a mix of different topics and a mix of different people and organizations to speak. You know, particularly, I can say for the executive director of UNODC for that dialogue, as always, you know, there was unfortunately much more questions submitted than I think we'll get through in an hour. I believe we had about 18 questions submitted, and normally we're able to get through maybe 7 or 8 or 9 during a meeting, depending on how fast the UNODC colleagues talk. But we'll try our best to get through as many as we can. And like I say, we've kind of tried to prioritize the questions with that in mind. But even if you're not asking a question, please do join these dialogues. Where, you know, we made a special point of still doing them, even though we're not there in Vienna in person, because I do feel that they are a very important opportunity for civil society to have this direct audience with some of these key individuals, you know, at the agencies. So yeah, please, we really hope to see you there. They all kind of take place towards the tail end of the week. So the first one's on Wednesday and the last 2 are on Friday. And just to highlight, I think at this point, a couple of the side events that we are working on. So we're really happy to be hosting a side event which is showcasing the work that's being done by our partners in Asia and the Asia Pacific region. So around a year ago now, we decided to create an ad hoc working group for Asia and also one for Africa, because, you know, we noticed that general levels of engagement were slightly lower from those regions. And also when you look at the Vienna NGO Committee membership, it was also slightly lower from those regions. So we wanted to create these working groups to see how we could boost engagement and be as inclusive as possible. So there will be a side event on the Wednesday morning, Vienna time, because obviously that will be afternoon and early evening for our Asian colleagues. Yeah, encourage you all to join us, and there'll be speakers from the region presenting on some of the different work that's been done, and the efforts in Asia to bring together NGOs, and particularly with a kind of a vision of creating a consensus, a drug policy, a consensus statement on drug policy from Asian NGOs. So really encourage you to attend that one if you can. And the other event that we're really kind of centrally involved in this year, and again alongside civil society units at UNODC, is one that's focusing on civil society and how we have responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as I said, this is obviously going to be a key theme throughout the week. So after an open call for speakers, we've selected some speakers you can see there on the slide from around the world, who are going to be giving their perspectives on how they have responded to the COVID pandemic, and the impact that COVID-19 has had on their work. In some cases positive, in some cases negative. Yeah, again, very much welcome you to register and join us for that side event. And if possible, Sarah, if you could share the link in the chat as well, so people can get that easily. And I believe, it says on here, yeah, so we are translating this particular side event into French, Russian, and Spanish in order to make it as accessible as possible. And we will also be obviously recording it, so you'll also be able to view the recording afterwards. But please join us at that time if you can. And Mirella, I'm happy to hand over to you for this one. It's really the civil society unit leading on this one.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. May I just also say something about the informal dialogue with the executive director? I really would recommend that those who has made it question in advance, if possible, that they join to ask it, because it makes it much more lively. And you don't know, the executive director is still new, because of course Jamie had the opportunity to meet with her in the framework of a meeting with the umbrella organization, but many of you haven't had the opportunity. It is online, unfortunately, but then it's good to have a face asking the question rather than just someone reading the question, which would not make much sense, especially because there are many questions to be addressed. To come back to the side event, Jamie, if you can.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Go to the slides, please.
Here we are.
I think one of the good things of this event is one of these initiatives which shows how NGOs also works with government, because initially the idea came from George Child Foundation, Kenya, and also the Russian Federation wanted to do something similar, so they joined forces, having their representative from an NGO. But obviously, when we knew about the format, which is online, of course, for side event, George had asked possibility to allow himself, but also a lot of other NGOs from Kenya, which don't have a very secure internet, to be able to attend the CND, and also, to be able to participate in this event. And a very good things is that the Commission on Anti-Narcotic Commission offered their premises to George and other 12 and other 10 NGOs from Kenya. And so they will be, we of course sponsor it, but they will have the opportunity to attend, to be in person or use internet facilities together in person. So I think I wanted to highlight this, which shows also how much we are all struggling to try to find ways to be productive and be able to work in these conditions where we have to also be safe and follow regulation. So yes, another event, interesting, covering a different part of the world, and I hope you will have the opportunity to participate also in it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. While you've been speaking, Mirella, I've had a chance to quickly look through the chat because I wasn't able to see that before. So, Kenzie, can I give you the floor, Kenzie? Because I think you had a question about NGO speakers. Is that right? You feel free to take the floor if you can, or if not, I can just read out the question. But it'd be great to hear from you.
Just give me a second, Jamie, to unmute Kenzie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Should be done now.
Kenzie, can we hear you?
Yes, I'm sorry. I think we have sorted out with Sarah, and I have the voice broken, so I'm not very good for.
Oh, I do not. I've just seen that message as well, Kenzie. Sorry, I didn't see it.
I think
apologies.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kenzie. So the question was about how we've allocated the speaking slots in the plenary, and you know, just to update others as well, like, you know, because there's shorter plenary slots, you know, time is going to be very tight. There's no escaping this. And so what we'd managed to negotiate with the CND Secretariat was that we could prioritize and kind of highlight 3 interventions for each agenda item, which you know, would take priority, would almost be guaranteed to be heard during that agenda item. But the crucial thing is, and I really want to emphasize this, we have not selected or rejected anyone who has requested a statement. When we asked ECOSOC registered NGOs to apply for a pass, we asked them at that stage if they wanted to make an intervention. Everyone who has applied to make an intervention will be put on the speaker list, but because of time, you know, for example, for agenda item 3, I believe there was 17 NGOs requested to speak, and it's incredibly unlikely that there will be time for all 17. So what we were able to do is negotiate that at least 3 will definitely be able to get to speak. And then, you know, hopefully there will be time for at least a 4th and a 5th and a 6th and so on. It's really difficult. I mean, there's no perfect scenario, you know, solution to the problem. And so we just tried our best to at least ensure that there was some space opened up, you know, at these meetings. And yeah, so we'll have to see how that proceeds, Kenzie. But I'm glad the question's been answered. Sorry for calling on that. Okay, so let's crack on with the presentation, and then we can come back to other questions afterwards. So okay, if we move on then, list of other side events. These are ones where obviously there's 100 side events. I can't list them all now. We'd be here for too long. But these are other side events where Vienna NGO Committee has been asked to select speakers from civil society, which we're obviously very happy to do. And therefore, they're the ones that we are co-sponsoring. So you've got, I won't read them all out in full detail, but you've got a range of side events, including on access to medicines, on parenting under COVID, on the drug dependence treatment and care program, and on alternatives to punishment. So again, really encourage you to engage with those events if you can. And I believe, Sarah, they're all going to be recorded as well. Is that right? Or do we not know? Because a lot of them are led by UNODC.
No, I don't think that all of them will be recorded.
Okay, no problem. We'll see. Okay, thank you. And I think, yeah, this is kind of the last slide from our side. And it's really just to say, you know, please stay in touch. I mean, you know, this is the first time and well, hopefully the last, I guess, in many ways, you know, the first time that we've had to do a CND entirely online or you know, mainly online in this way. So there's a lot of it is still relatively unknown. You know, there's a lot of it we're going to have to adapt very quickly and learn as we go. From our side at the Vienna Committee, you know, we remain available all week to troubleshoot. I see there's already been some troubleshooting going on in the chat, which, you know, that's all part of it. That's what we do. So if you have any questions, if you're worried that you haven't received an email or you're not sure if you've registered or you know, you think you've missed something or any problems at all, please let us know. If we can't help you, we can at least try and connect you with someone who can. So you've got the emails there on the slide for myself as the NGOC chair, for Matej, who's the deputy chair, but probably in a way the most important one is the third one, which is Sarah, who's our eyes and ears on the ground and just, you know, just works so wonderfully to fix these problems.
Can you move the camera so that we see you?
Yeah,
move the camera so that we can see also Sarah.
Yeah, so you can give us a big wave. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, no, so, you know, Sarah's a really important point of contact. And then obviously as well, Mirella, and also, you know, her colleagues in the civil society unit, who are also on hand all week to, you know, to try and deal with any issues that might arise and to try and make this work as best as we can. And, you know, I really hope that it does go according to plan. I mean, I honestly believe, from having liaised with the CND Secretariat for a number of months now, you know, they've worked so hard to put in place what they can to make this work. It's such an unknown for all of us. So I'm sure there will be hiccups. There will be teething problems. You know, there'll be things that happen during the week. But let's just, you know, let's just try and be understanding. Let's work together, and let's just make sure that, as a whole, the civil society engagement this week is just as strong and just as productive as it is when we're in Vienna ourselves. And, you know, who knows, if things do work particularly well, maybe this can lay the foundations for you know, better online access for every CND. You know, let's just see what happens. So at that point, I'm going to stop. I want to first of all ask Mirella if there's anything that you wanted to kind of add, and then we can come to any other questions that people might want to raise.
Yes, just for those who want to follow through Interprefier, I mean, for those who have received the link, do register in advance, because it takes some, you know, it's not like on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you will not get the access immediately. Do it at least 15 minutes or half an hour earlier, or maybe already now. I don't know how it works.
Please,
Sarah can add something.
Please do it as soon as possible. The official deadline passed yesterday.
Okay, sorry.
So if you haven't done your Indico registration yet, please do so, and also please send me an email so that I and Mariana, the colleague from UNODC, can follow up with the Secretariat and make sure that everything is done before Monday.
Yeah, so just to clarify, because I know that these processes are confusing and, you know, there's lots of different steps. So this Indico that we're talking about, this applies to the people, ECOSOC registered NGOs, that have requested a pass to be on the platform. So you will have already completed a form that the Vienna NGO committee sent, and thank you for doing that. And you will have hopefully received an email from us saying, yes, you have a pass. And what you need to do, or ideally what you need to have done, is also register for the Indico system. And the link's available on the CND website. So it's like a dual process, but you have to do both parts. The deadline of yesterday, the deadline, I believe, was the 7th, and that deadline applies both to civil society and to governments and to every participant. So if you haven't already registered on Indico, please do let us know so that we can try and make sure that that's okay. And obviously, please do register as quickly as you can. From memory, because I registered a few days ago, you will need an electronic version of a photo, a passport photo, and you will also need a letter from your organization confirming that they are giving you one of their passes. And then basically the UN colleagues will match that against the list that the Vienna committee has provided, and then you will be provided with the links that you need to access the meeting. I know it's confusing. I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope that we've tried to make it as clear as we can. So I do see that I've got Marie with her hand raised, but there's also a written question submitted by Dag. So this, let me answer that one now. So Dag's asking, some NGOs have requested an oral intervention. How will this be solved? And so, as I mentioned earlier, we have received those requests for interventions, assuming that Dag, that you did request via, and I think you did request via the Vienna NGO committee form. So we've looked at those lists, and then we've looked at it across the agenda items to try and make sure that there is, as always, a gender balance, a regional balance, a thematic balance, that there's a real variety of different NGOs being given an opportunity. And we have prioritized 3 statements per agenda item. All the other statements that have been requested will go on the speakers lists, but it's just we cannot guarantee that there will be enough time. Unfortunately for a CND, the rules of procedure for a CND state that the member states get, the regional groups get to speak first, then the member states get to speak, then the other international organizations and UN agencies, and then civil society. There's nothing we can do about that. That's written into the rules. So we will be speaking last, and we've had to negotiate that compromise, Dag, in order to be able to guarantee that at least some NGOs will get to speak. So it's far from ideal, and I will be the first to hold my hand up to that. But unfortunately, it was a compromise that we couldn't avoid given the situation. So I hope that answers the question. And Dag, you should have by now, or I think it might be your colleague, if I'm not mistaken, it's your colleague Eva should have received by now an email from Sarah about the statement. So again, please let us know if that's not the case. Marie, can Sarah, are you able to unmute Marie so that she can speak? Because I see you have your hand raised, Marie, from IDPC.
Yes. Should be possible.
Yeah, Marie.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Hi everyone, it's Marie Nugier from IDPC. First of all, I just wanted to thank the VNGOC for all your efforts. It's I know it hasn't been easy on your end to do all this for us, so thank you. The second one is I just wanted to mention 2 tools that are developed by IDPC, which we hope will help civil society engagement and involvement at the CND. The first one is the Cnd Blog. We blog live all the proceedings and hopefully most of the side events that we can. If we're not, if you see during the week that we're not blogging your side event, feel free to send us your blog at contact@idpc.net. We'll put it up there. But if you're missing some proceedings, you can have a look at the Cnd blog at any time. We'll make sure to do it live as much as we can. And the second tool is the Cnd app, which enables you to create your own schedule of the CND. You also can see live who is speaking and also which resolution is in the committee of the whole and what's their status. So we hope that enables you to follow what's going on. You can also receive like updates on CND side events that you're following or would like to know about. And there's all the links in there as well. And thanks to UNODC for doing that for all of us. And you can also search through CND resolutions for UN agreed language. So we think that could be helpful for the CND. So just to mention these 2, we hope they're helpful. There's also feedback forms in both of these tools to send us feedback if there is anything you think we should improve for the next years. So thanks a lot, everyone, and very, very good CND. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Excellent. Thank you, Marie. Thanks for highlighting those. And I've popped the links into the chat as well, so that people can see those. So I'm also now just quickly looking down the list of questions. So Eva, you're asking about when will we know about the questions for the informal dialogue. So Sarah, if I'm not mistaken, we're planning to send out that email soon. Is that right? We've obviously had to prioritize other things to start with, but
yes, it's going out either this afternoon or latest Monday morning. Okay. To all people that submitted the question. Yeah. So so you'll get that very soon, Eva. So I hope that answers your question. Sorry for the delay, but we had to prioritize the passes. Then we had to prioritize the plenary interventions. It's just, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can imagine it. It's been a tough couple of weeks. But yeah, no, we'll get that we'll get that out to everyone as soon as possible. It was, we kind of put that last on the list because the first dialogue doesn't happen till Wednesday. So there's still time on that one. And then yeah, just looking through for other questions just in case. So I see we've got questions from Sarah Helm about registration. So Sarah, I think you are on the government delegation. So you do have to register on Indico, and it sounds like I think you've done that by the looks of the comments. The other thing I talked about is Interprify. That's you don't have to register on that as such. That's the platform they're using instead of Teams or Zoom. And so once you have registered on Indico, and that registration has been approved on the Indico system, you will then receive a link that is your entry into the platform. So you don't need to register for anything else. You're on the government delegation, so you just have to be on Indico, and then they will give you the link as before. For NGOs, for those of us not lucky enough to be on a government delegation, you do have to have registered already with the Vienna NGO committee, and then on Indico, and then those two things will be matched up together, and then you will get your link. If you haven't done one of those steps, then you can still watch everything on the webcast. If you want to just watch the webcast, you don't have to register at all. You just have to go on the CND website and follow the link. So a lot of this talk about registrations and deadlines and things, it only applies to those of you who are looking to go onto the platform itself, rather than just watching the webcast. And again, I'm really sorry if that's still not clear, but it is complicated.
This platform, if I may add, is complicated because it's in, like the name itself say, Interprify. It has interpretation in the 6th language of the UN. So this is why it has a limited number, and you have to register in advance. Sorry if I was confused before, because even us as staff, I had not I had missed the deadline probably, but still I could register. But still, this is why it's not complicated just for the sake of being complicated, but it is complicated because it has an added value compared to Team, for instance, or any other. It allows big numbers and it allows interpretation.
Yeah, I think if we'd have had to do this on Teams, like there's no way that NGOs would have been given 150 passes, for example. So I think it's good that we're on this extra platform. The only downside is I don't think, well, so I'm speaking for myself, I'm not as familiar with that platform. So there's a lot that we just going to have to learn very quickly and adapt very quickly to that platform. If any of you have attended other UN meetings, I know, for example, I believe the Human Rights Council in Geneva have been using Interprify. So some of you may be familiar with it, which is great. Okay, so looking down the other comments, and I think Sarah's trying to answer a lot of those as we go, particularly with people saying they haven't registered on Indico. So as we say, just please let us know. And yeah, if you are, Eva, you raised a good point. It does happen quite a lot. So if you haven't received an email from us, please do check your junk mail or spam filter, or whatever your email program might use to to filter out emails that it doesn't think are meant to go through, because it does happen quite a lot. I think partly because we have drugs in our name, partly because we don't regularly send out messages. You know, we do get spammed and we get put in junk quite a lot. We try not to take it personally, but do check your junk folder if you're expecting an email and it hasn't come through, because quite a lot of the time that's where it will end up. So I'm glad that email has come through, Eva, for you. Yeah, and for Kenz's question about the plenary, I believe it's just one link. I believe it's just one link for the whole week, for each plenary session. Yeah, again, I mean, let's just see. You know, we'll see how it pans out, but that's my understanding of it, is it's just one link. Are there any other questions? Does anyone else want to take the floor? Because we still have a few minutes, and I want to make sure that we're giving everyone, you know, giving everyone as much of a chance as we possibly can to speak. So I guess this is one last call. If anyone has any additional questions, or maybe if I've missed your question in the chat, which I apologize for. Anyone else?
I think Jonasa raised her hand, but now lowered it. Not sure if.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I see. I'm not looking at the hands. I apologize. So, Jonasa or Lord, do you want to take the floor? I'm happy for you to unmute. Oh, it's it. Jonasa's hand's gone down again. Okay. Well, like I say, you know where we are. So if you do have any questions, if we haven't answered anything today, please do get in touch, because we'd rather try and help out rather than, you know, rather than you guys be alone on this. We're all you know, asking similar questions as well. So please don't feel in any way, don't hesitate to ask us if anything's not clear. So yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today. This video will be available on the VNGOC website as soon as possible. So, you know, please do also let others know that that is there, because hopefully we've tried to answer some of the questions at least. And I really look forward to kind of seeing you all, albeit virtually, as the CND week kind of proceeds. And I really hope that it's a good, productive week for all of you. So I'll just hand over to Mirella in case you want to say any final words.
Yes, I mean, before the final word, if just for a minute, if everybody can put on his camera, maybe we can do, it doesn't work. Okay, I was told it doesn't work, sorry.
Oh, because we've got it as a webinar, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, in that case, looking forward to seeing you virtually next week, if not in person. And also, please let us know if someone is coming in person, so that we are also aware in advance. I mean, for those people that registered in person.
Yeah, and yeah, and I think
Sarah wants to add something.
Yeah, I was just because Michael Platzer is asking another question in the chat. I was wondering if we can take that. Are the panelists for the BNTUC chosen? I'm not sure, Michael, what you mean. Can I unmute you?
Yeah, Michael, do you want to just speak, because we're not sure. What do you mean by panelists? Do you mean the plenary interventions, or the side events, or the questions in the dialogues? Is Michael still there? Michael, are you able to unmute? Okay, well,
the side events.
For the side events, yes, the deadline for that passed a few weeks ago, and yet speakers have been selected. You can see them on the flyers for the different side events on the website, and all the speakers have been notified, you know, that if they've been accepted. As always, as you know, Michael, there was always far more applicants than there were spaces. So, you know, it's always impossible to give everyone space to speak when they, you know, deserve it. But again, the Vienna committee of the board, we spent a long time doing that selection to try and make sure that we had good regional balance, good gender balance, and a balance of different perspectives across all those side events together. So yeah, yeah, so that selection has already taken place, and everyone should have been notified the results. Yeah.
Maybe you'll find a space for the coalition of faith-based organizations. Okay.
Well, not at this stage, unfortunately not, because all the spaces are taken. But what I would say is that all the good side events, assuming that the time management goes to plan, every side event should allow space for Q&A and interaction at the end. I mean, that's really the value of the side event. So even if you're not listed as a speaker, Michael, I would encourage you to still attend those side events, because I'd really hope that there is time in all of them to make interventions and to still raise issues and raise points from your perspective. So yeah, that would be my advice at this stage for sure.
Okay, so maybe even at the side event. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks, Michael, and thanks everyone else. And yeah, we'll see you next week, and enjoy the CND. And hopefully we'll see you properly in person this time next year at least. So yeah, thank you, Mirella. Thanks, Sarah, and thank you everyone for attending as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, that's it.